Today we are finally doing a tour of the 125 gallon fish room. We have 24 tanks up and running. That's a ton of water, and it's all dedicated to shrimp. Just look how beautiful that is. We're gonna go through every single tank. We're gonna show you what's in every single one, how they're doing, what problems we've had, and just give you guys the full tour of this amazing fish room. What is going on, shrimp keepers? This is Rob with flipaquatics.com, and if this is your first time seeing the 125 gallon fish room, consider checking out the playlist down below. There's all the videos that we've done on this from start to finish, where this basement has come from to where it is now. We're gonna go through, we're gonna show you every single shrimp that we have in this fish room and kind of walk you through the whole planning process and everything that's happened in the time from the beginning of this fish room to where it is now and where we're going from here. So super excited. I hope you guys enjoy this video. And again, if this is your first time ever here, why don't you guys consider hitting that subscribe button? I want you guys to see what this fish room behind me turns into. It's gonna be super, super exciting. So you guys sit back, enjoy the video, and let me know what you guys think. So it is currently the first thing in the morning. It's early. It's I believe it's about 10 o'clock, which I guess isn't that early, but the big thing to know is we haven't gone through these tanks. We haven't looked to see how the shrimp are doing. You guys are gonna see the first thing in the morning. There's gonna be some deaths in the tanks, and that's just a part of bringing in so many shrimp. And so this is why we quarantine for 30 days to ensure that they're healthy. So we're gonna go through there. I'm gonna show you the whole process, but I did wanna talk about what's going on in this fish room. Over here we have 6 275 gallon totes. We use RO DI water for all of our shrimp tanks. Now, that way we're sure there's no chlorine, there's no chloramine, there's no ammonia in the water, there's nothing in the water. We're literally purifying the water and we're remineralizing it with GH and KH or just GH depending on what it is. And this is our system that we use to purify all the water. If you're getting into shrimp or thinking about getting into shrimp, I highly recommend learning how to use RO water. I have a video on that, I'll link it down below, but it is definitely the foolproof way of keeping shrimp alive and happy. So without further ado, let's get right into these tanks and show you guys what we have in them. So let's start first on A rack. I went upstairs, I turned off all these lights so we just have the tank lights on. That way you guys can see them better. But tank A1, we'll start there. This is all blue bolts. So we got, I wanna say we put, I think it says 600. We did 600 blue bolts in here. And as you can see, they are just doing phenomenal. We have the scorecards. Scorecards, that's a horrible thing to call it because you want this to remain 0. But this is just how the shrimp are doing. If we have any deaths, we mark them down. So luckily this tank is doing really good. And you could just see some of them look phenomenal, some not so much. But they're all beautiful in their own sense. This guy's not even a blue bolt. This is more of a blue steel. And so that guy will get called out. And but he is a really, really cool looking shrimp. And then there's a blue Masura, so we'll have to call that one out. And so there's a little bit of work that goes into these. There's actually a lot of work that goes into keeping the shrimp healthy and keeping them alive and making sure you're selling the right thing. But just tons of shrimp in here. So again, 600. So if you just look at our mat filters, there's just tons and tons of shrimp on there. And we did custom mat filters for all these tanks. They're 3 inches thick. And then we got the lift tubes up as high as possible so we can get tons of I can't even say it. I can't say it. I don't know why, but I can't say it, so you guys are just gonna have to bear with me. It puts oxygen into the water. That's the easiest way to say it. So we got that going on. Now tank number 2, this is A2. We got the really rare ghost shrimp in here. You could see there's some food in there that the ghost shrimp haven't eaten yet. And you know, with it being Halloween and you know all that, or Halloween, however you want to say it, you got to make the joke about having ghost shrimp in here because actually there's no shrimp at all in here. there's no ghost shrimp, but they are ghosts. They're invisible shrimp living in here. Just kidding. Okay, bad joke, dad joke, not a good one. And here we got some Tangerine Tigers. You could see we started having some issues. So we had 2, then 5, then 6. So we'll see how they're doing today. It looks like we have 1 right there, another one, so it looks like 2, and then I think there was 1 down here, so we got 3 in here. So again, not horrible. It's coming down because we added the bacteria in here. But again, you know, it's just issues. So you gotta constantly be on top of it. You gotta figure out the pattern, what's going on, why they're dying. Is it because of lack of food? Is it because of health before they got here? Is it stress? Is it water temperature? Is it water chemistry? A lot of things go into it, but we just do our best to keep them alive and as happy and healthy as possible. But Tangerine Tigers, they're usually a very hardy shrimp. They're beautiful. I mean, they pop. They definitely pop in the tank. So we got a full tank of these guys, again, 600 of them. And then down here we got a whole nother tank of them. So you can see, again, all over the matin filter. That's why matin filters are so important to us, because they're a home for shrimp to just eat the bacteria, do their thing. And that one almost looked like it was buried. And that's not a Tangerine Tiger either. That's well, it might be, but it has some white on its back, so we're gonna call that one, just to ensure that that there's no crossbreeds in here. And we're actually, most likely, the plan is to breed these. Now, I don't know if that's actually gonna happen, for the simple fact that they might sell faster than we can breed them, but we're really gonna try to keep these for breeding purposes. You can see they're everywhere. Now, next up over, we'll actually do the top first. These are crystal blacks. These are actually pure line. And you could see they just have a nice deep white and black color. I mean, they're beautiful. They really, really are. You could even see like this one right here in the middle. That's a pretty high grade one. It has very little black, and that's how you grade them for pattern. The less black and the more white is better. Once you start seeing the white on the legs, like that one has the legs close to his body, like probably half of his leg is white. That's really nice. Now, if they're white all the way down his leg, it's even worth more. Like this one right there, that one's got a little bit more white on his legs. And it's just breeding genetics. You just got to keep breeding those qualities out. You can see like there's tons of them. So really, really excited to get these guys going. This is the first time we've ever ordered Pure Line. And basically all Pure Line is, for those of you that don't know, Pure Line represents a shrimp that was never crossed with a golden bee to help bring out the white. These are actually crystal shrimp bred from the original crystal shrimp to have the colors that they have. So there's a lot more work that goes into these than regular crystal reds or regular crystal blacks, whereas crystal blacks could be bred with golden bees to help bring out that white color. And so these guys are Pure Line, which means they're pure genetics. And so we're gonna hopefully breed these as well and see what we can do with it. There's some older ones in here, like you could see. I mean, they're not older, but that one almost, the one in the back almost looks like it's buried, which would be super, super exciting. So it's one of those things, we're going to keep working with this species and hopefully get some good colors going out, or some good shrimp going out. Now down here, these are just crystal blacks. They look, I don't want to say they look the same, but they look pretty much the same, maybe not as good a color. But the only way to tell a pure line and a crystal red is just, or a pure line between a regular crystal, is just by breeding them. If you ever get anything other than crystal blacks or crystal reds, depending on what you're breeding, that's how you know if it's a pure line or not. So like this guy's really nice. But yeah, so these are mainly going to be our breeding projects. But again, you know, that might not be the case. If we're just selling that many shrimp that these are all being sold, then we might have to wait till the next rack to really get into breeding. Now these guys are pure red line. So this is the red version. You can see they're eating a shrimp, but we've only had 2 deaths in this tank since we started. You could see on the 24th and the 28th, but since then we haven't had anything. So that would be 1 death. And it looks like most likely what happened is these guys are really starving for protein, and we've been trying to like power feed them protein. And so one of the shrimp could have started to molt, and it didn't have anywhere to hide, and then they just attacked it. And so to prevent that, you can add more hiding places. The reason we don't add more hiding places is because the first month of quarantine, we want to be able to see what's going on in the tank. So if something is dying, we don't want there to be a place that shrimp could hide when they die. I guess they wouldn't hide when they die. But we don't want to have a place where dead shrimp can be missed by people checking on them, because that can create ammonia spikes, which could kill a lot of shrimp. So we try to limit the amount of hiding places and just feed them extra protein to make sure that nothing's going wrong there. And then down below, this is a tank of red fancy tigers. Now this is just a bunch of mixed grades.
So you can see there's not a ton that are like super nice, but there are some nice ones. So what we'll do, we'll actually go through and we will feed, or we won't feed. I'm thinking of this guy. This is how scatterbrained I get. There's one eating something, so I thought of feeding. But we'll go through here and we will sell all the ones that are lower quality. So like this one's pretty nice on the glass. We'll sell ones that look like these guys. Maybe not. Those are kind of nice. This one right there. We'll sell those ones as like the low grade red galaxies or red fancy tigers. And then we'll keep all the nice ones and then we'll try to breed the nice ones and see what the next generation has for us. So that's the plan with those guys. And then moving on, huge shout out to Brightwell. So again, this is all Brightwell soil. That's what we use for all of our Caridina tanks. This is their brown type. So they call it, this is Rio Oscuro and this is Rio Cafe. Now we have it on our website as just shrimp soil black or shrimp soil brown. But I really am digging the brown. Like it makes the shrimp pop and we didn't know how it would look, but with the black background, the black mat filter, you know, the black stand, the brown like looks really, really good. So these are just regular crystal reds. I think these are SS and SSS grade, which again, that's just the pattern type that they are. So the less red they have, the higher their grade as far as pattern. It doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna have great color, but most of them seem to have great color. And what I mean by great color, like if their color is kind of transparent or translucent, it's not as good. So you want those nice solid colors. Like this guy, for example, right in the middle, our girl, not the best color, whereas the one to the right is like really, really good color. And so it's just, there's a bunch of grading that goes into these, but absolutely love it. Like I love the way it looks on that mat filter. I think that's so cool. And just the brown, they really, really, really do pop. And same thing down below, just some more crystals. Again, all sitting on there. We actually have stools down here because it's too hard to get down and see these. So we just roll around on stools. I was gonna roll around on one to make it easier. I didn't have to bend down like I am now. But you guys would hear all the squeaky tires, so didn't want to do that. So hopefully we get these guys breeding. That would be phenomenal. If we can get a USA source going of crystal reds, that will be really good for everyone involved. And then last but not least, we got some more Taiwan bees. These are just the normal black mix. So there's going to be some black King Kongs in here. There's going to be some black pandas. There's going to be some white stripe or one stripes. Like this guy's a really nice King Kong. That one's almost a green Hulk. He's got the green coloration to him. But there's just some really nice ones. Looks like they're eating something again. Might just be a molt that time. But yeah, so we check on these guys at least twice a day. Again, there's some going on. So this is just showing you guys, like this is exactly what we do every single day. So if you look up here, we had 1 dead on the first day and then 2 dead the last 2 days. And then we'll check it today. It's looking like we got 1 dead there and maybe 1 death down there. But again, we're putting 600 shrimp in these tanks. So 1 shrimp, every couple days is gonna happen. That's, I don't wanna say it's normal, but it is normal. And so usually with Caridina, you don't have very many deaths. I'll show you the other side. We have a lot more issues over there, but that's all the Neo Caridina, or at least the shrimp that don't need a buffered substrate. And so you have some more issues on that side. Now these are all red Taiwan bees, so you're gonna have like, you can actually see there's actually a decent amount dead in there. That's a lot for this tank. So there's 1, 2, 3 that I'm seeing. If you look around, looks like 4 right there, and that looks like all. There might be 1 or 2 more, but let's see. So if you look on here, there was actually 8 dead yesterday. So something started going wrong between these 3 days. And so they had 8 dead. So they added bacteria yesterday. We used the Brightwell bacteria for this room. And so we'll go through here. We'll mark down what happened today, and we'll try to figure out what's going wrong. And if this continues, we're going to keep feeding them mineral foods. And what we feed this room is the glass garden. So a little bit of issue there, so we'll come back to that one, or after the video I'll come back to it and make sure we take care of that. But this is what we feed this row. We feed glass garden mineral junkie. It's a really, really great food. It's little pellets. So this is like a super easy food to feed because it just comes in these little pellet forms. And you could break these super easy. Sorry about the lines on the screen. That just happens because of the LED lights. The other one, shrimp dinner, it's good. It has a decent amount of protein in there, so that's good food. And then we'll feed the Bacteria E, always my favorite food right there. But this stuff's really good, so I'll close that up in a second. The other food we feed is actually right here. This is what we feed the Neocaridina side. We don't feed it as much to the Caridina, but this is Bug Pro crisps. It's a Northfin food, and we feed that to the guys that get a little extra protein in there. And then the other thing is kelp wafers. This we mainly feed the Neos, but we do feed it to the Caridina if it looks like they're having protein issues. So I'm gonna close this back up. I'm gonna deal with that real quick, and then I'll do the tour of the other side. So picking up where we left off, we're on B rack now. Now this is all Neocaridina / shrimp that need a higher pH, so a little bit harder water. So we have a little bit more deaths on this side because they do come in as adult shrimp, which isn't always the good thing. So day one we had 106, and then we had 16, 9 question marks, so somebody didn't write it down, and then 6, 8, and 5. So this isn't great, but considering where it started, it's not bad. So we've been adding bacteria to this. I don't know why they didn't mark it down, but that's another thing. So you look in here, instantly we see 1 death there. We got at least 1, maybe 2 back there. Another one there, so that's 3. And then it looks like that might be it. And there might be some like pieces lingering around like of shrimp that they ate. And so we'll count those as a death just to be, you know, as close to the accurate count as possible. But these guys, I'm really glad they're bouncing back. Like, look at that. Isn't that cool? I love it. So these are fancy blues. These are actually bred from chocolate shrimp, so their color actually remains pretty good. But look, they come in with so many buried females, and that's why it's so hard to transition them. Now, they will hatch their eggs in here, most likely. And this guy actually looks like he has the red spot disease. So the only way to get rid of that is just good water quality. You can treat it a little bit. This guy looks like he might have it too. So again, there's a lot that goes into the first 30 days of keeping these guys to ensure that they're healthy enough to sell to you all, the hobbyists. So we really take our time. We make sure that they're healthy, and it should go good. Now the nice thing about having these guys over here, we have them on soil. We have them on the Matin filter, which I always highly recommend. So no babies are going to get down the backside, the drain. Whereas in the other room, it's possible that they could get down the drain. And so in here, we can really get some breeding ones going, which will be a good thing. Like fancy blues are always a big seller for us. To have a USA bred line of these would be huge for us. I don't know if it's possible again because like the demand's so crazy for these, but hopefully one day I'm really planning on getting a USA colony going. Now looking in here, looks like we have 1 death there. We have 1 right there, 1 right there. So we're at 3, 4, and then it looks like 5. So again, not the best case scenario, but I mean, not terrible either. Again, look at these. The nice thing about having these in a 125 versus having them in a pond is it's much easier to look in on the shrimp, see how they're doing. You could see parasites right away. You could see Elabiopsidae right away. You can see everything as soon as it happens, and that way we can be on top of keeping these guys healthy. In the ponds, you can do that, but it takes a lot more work, and so there's a lot more pulling shrimp out, spot checking them, putting them back in, treating them, doing our thing. And here, you can just look in the tank, and instantly you know how they're doing. So I really do like the 125 gallon setup, but it's not cost effective. So it's one of those things that it's a convenience. And so if you have the money, do it. If you don't have the money, it's a little tough. So these guys, we got 1 death, 2, and then that's all I'm seeing. But these are carbons. There's a lot of blue carbon lilies in here, which is actually nice. Customers prefer them. But it's just one of those things that most of the time they do come in. And then there's like a black one in there. So like those ones we have to call out. They look really good. Now these guys came in with Vorticilla, and so we've been treating these guys. So let's see if we can spot any. And again, that's the nice thing about having these tanks is you can really see the eggs on it. Like here's one right here. Let me see if I can zoom in enough. See like the white specks on their gills right there? That is because that's because those are the eggs of the Vorticilla or Scutellaria. And so the fact that we can see those now makes it 10 times easier to treat. And here's one up close right here. If I can get it to focus. It's got 1 egg in there. So again, this is making it so much easier for us to go through and ensure that our shrimp are that much healthier, and we're able to be on top of it right away. Down here, looks like we got 1, 2, looks like 3 over there. And the black soil really helps with telling, you know, if there's a dead one or not, because they change colors. If they haven't changed colors yet, we leave them in there because sometimes they're just having a hard time molting. Again, shipping's very stressful on them. And so like right here, here's one with Elobioxidae. So I'm gonna get that one out as soon as the video is done, because what happens if this guy dies and the other shrimp eat that, they can be infected too. So we wanna get those out of there as soon as possible, and that reduces the spread. And then we actually have a new food coming out that we can feed these guys that will kill off the Elobioxidae. So once that thing is official and we have tons of that food, we're actually gonna start feeding it to all of our Neocaridina shrimp. That way, hopefully you'll never have an issue with Elobioxidae ever again. And it's really not called Elobioxidae, that's just what I call it because that's what everyone calls it now. It's actually a type of algae, we believe. But the good thing is we do have a cure for it, which is super, super nice. Now, the cure definitely gets rid of it, but we don't know the long term. So we don't know if in 5 or like a year later could it come back. We don't know, but we do know that we can kill off the infection when it starts, you know, turning into the green stuff. And so these are actually black rose. Now, putting them in here, you could see right away some of them don't have great color. And so we're actually gonna go through here and call, and we're gonna be able to pick out some really, really nice ones and then sell the other ones is just, I don't even know. We'll have to figure that out. But like when they're on the black substrate, most of them look pretty good. It's just when they get up there and the light really hits them, like this guy's. There's just funky colors. Because these guys are bred from chocolate, so you're gonna get a little bit mixture of colors. You can get some reds, you can get some blues, you can get some greens, because that's all coming from that chocolate line of shrimp. But looking good. Down here, we have some Bloody Marys. Looks like we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 des? Something like that. And again, that's not really abnormal, like you could see. And this is just me being fully transparent with you guys. We got 24, 7, 1, 10, 11, 8, and 8. So to have 5 is actually getting better. And this is something that you just need to be on top of. Again, the biggest thing with these guys is they come in full grown. And customers want them full grown, which is kind of crazy. I'd prefer to get baby shrimp myself, but you can see there's little babies in there, which is always exciting. So I'd prefer to get baby shrimp for the simple fact that the babies are gonna do a lot better in your tank. Now they're smaller, they're not gonna breed as fast, but you're gonna have them for a lot longer. And so these guys, yeah, they come in old, and so they're a little bit harder to transition, and they're harder to get back to health and all that stuff. But I mean, at the end of the day, that's what people want for now. And once we get our own colonies going, we'll try to shift that mentality to give them the option. You know, you can get juvenile shrimp; they're going to do a lot better for you, and they're just not going to be full grown. So we'll see how all that goes. Now down here, you can see all the shrimp swimming about. I'll give you a second to guess what these are, but these are like, oh, you can see it right there. These are all Amano shrimp. These guys are absolute pigs. So I told you we feed the Northfin kelp wafers and also the Bug Crisp Pro, or I don't know what it is. I think it's just called Bug Pro, or I don't even know. But it's a really good food. Watch this. Let me put down the camera for a second, and I'll show you guys me dropping one of these in, and they'll just attack it. So I got the lid taken off. As you can see, no food in there. They're still swimming like crazy. But watch this. So I'm gonna drop 3 in there. Like, as soon as it hits the water, they're all over it. And like, they'll take chunks of this and just swim away. So these guys are absolute pigs. Like, they are the biggest eaters you'll ever see in the shrimp hobby. Like, absolutely ridiculous. I mean, look at them. They're just devouring the food. And these guys, they really aren't even that attractive. They're just clear shrimp. But they are the best algae eater you'll ever have. Like, as far as shrimp go, these guys are it. So look at them. Yeah, we'll go around. We'll look at the other tanks. Well, I guess they're actually just all Amano shrimp. So nothing super exciting there. But the cool thing about these guys, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, they never, ever have issues. So Again, our exporter quarantined these for longer. They go out, they catch them. I believe he gets these ones from the wild. I'd have to confirm with him. But they go out there, they bring them back, and he actually quarantined himself for 2 weeks because we ordered so many, so he wanted to make sure we were able to get all the ones that we wanted. And so he quarantined himself. So the fact that he quarantined them, he fed them, he made sure they were healthy before we got them, like that was the thing that really made these guys do well. And just look at them. Like, they're everywhere. You almost can't even see them. Like, look at all the molts. So these guys are just phenomenal. And rarely do we ever have parasites, anything on these guys. I mean, it can happen, but I mean, it's happened maybe like 1 or 2 times for us. And so these guys always come in really healthy, but look at them just devouring it. So that's Amano Shrimp for you. They're absolute pigs. They can hold their own with small fish. Now, anything that has a mouth big enough to eat these guys, most likely they're going to eat them, so I don't recommend it. To give you a size comparison, like they're the size of my fingernail, roughly. But they get probably about 2 to 3 times that size. So just the sea of Amano Shrimp. Beautiful. Well, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to enjoy these Amano Shrimp, devouring some food. I'm going to go through the room with a fine-tooth comb, and hopefully if there's any issues, I'll find them and I'll be able to deal with them. But that's what we're working on today. I hope you guys enjoyed this tour of the 125-gallon fish room, and there's so much more to come. If you guys, like, look at all this space behind me. This is all going to be 125-gallon tanks. We're doing over 100 in this room. We only have 24 set up right now, so there's a ton of stuff to come. You guys stay tuned. Again, hit that subscribe button if you're new here, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great rest of your week, and as always, God bless.